Do not let your hearts be troubled. For many of us, our hearts are troubled, not all of the time, as we value something of the slower pace of life, and as we now have some idea of what potentially lies ahead in terms of the roadmap. And of course, day by day, our resilience and resourcefulness carries us through this pandemic. But there are times and days when we worry. We worry about our health or the health of a loved one. We worry about our future and the future of our country. We worry about our children's education and their future. We perhaps worry about our relationships. We find ourselves grappling with unanswered and unanswerable questions. At times, our hearts are troubled. To this, Jesus says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me." These are comforting words, there is no doubt. And yet our belief in God does not necessarily stop our hearts being troubled. It does not shield us from the problems of life. Nor should it lead us into a sort of passive attitude whereby we think we can simply entrust everything to God, seeing no reason to engage with or work towards healing the broken and hurting situations of our world. Rather, our belief in God brings us into relationship with God, and when in relationship with God, we are in partnership with him in terms of his work in our world. This is clear from the words in the Gospel reading, "Very truly I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and in fact will do greater works than these, because I am going to the Father." And so, as we believe and trust in God's care for us, we are encouraged to work with God, seeking to do the greater works that Christ called us to. In other words, our faith makes us participants in God's work in our world, and therefore calls us to action. Many of us are taking action during this pandemic. Of course, healthcare and essential workers are taking considerable action, and so are many others who are carrying out caring and practical tasks to help one another: shopping, trips to pharmacies with prescriptions, food deliveries, cutting someone's grass, staying home. Even if we have been cocooning and are unable to get out so freely, we have still taken action: telephone calls, words of encouragement, prayers for one another. In this, in taking action, in participating in God's work, in partnership with him, we find our dwelling place with him. Today's Gospel reading, with its reference to our dwelling place with God, is so often read at funerals that perhaps we think it refers only to our dwelling place with God after death. But no, this passage speaks to us here and now too. We have a dwelling place with him here and now. When we partnership with God, when we actively participate in God's work, we find our dwelling place with him. We find that dwelling place in the ways God's life intersects with our own, when we show mercy, generosity, compassion, healing, love, beauty, wisdom, hope, courage, joy. Every time we live and express these divine attributes in our way of being, with our words or by our actions, we take up residence with God. We find our dwelling place with him, and there, in that dwelling place, we find peace for our troubled hearts. Amen.